Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Knull here from Retro Knull, my retro gaming channel, and today we're going to be starting episode 1 of our podcast called Pixel Patrol. I originally was going to have this podcast, do this podcast with my buddy Matt, but I decided I kind of want to do it solo and have Matt and I have our own separate podcast. I'd like to have this podcast be more family friendly and have the other one be able to have us both kind of just fly off the handle and say whatever we want. So this one's going to be family friendly. You'll be able to listen to this around your friends and family members, and we can talk about just games, game news. You know, if you want to listen to this with your kids, if for some reason you and your children are listening, you can. So, anyways, let's get started. My name, like I said, is Knull, aka John. I run this channel, Retro Knull, where we just do reviews, video essays, podcasts, stuff like that. Anything retro or more so game collecting related. And yeah, so I want to keep the intro kind of quick so we can kind of get right into the podcast details. But thank you guys for coming and clicking on this and checking this out. And hopefully we can keep this on going for a while. I'd like to do this once a week. Just kind of sit down for an hour, talk about game stuff, game related stuff, what I'm playing, what I'm buying, any new pickups, stuff like that, as well as different news articles that I've read, or news that I just find in general. And some of the news I will be talking about, I will quote or like give credit to where I got it. Other stuff I've just seen like a billion people say it on Twitter, so I'm just gonna say it in general. But yeah, so welcome to Pixel Patrol, my retro game collecting and video game collecting podcast. So let's get started. I was going to talk about my gaming history. I started playing games when I was a young kid. I don't know. I'm going to guesstimate like six or seven, I'm going to say. Probably maybe even younger than that, because I know I met my friend Austin at 7, and I'd been playing Pokemon and for a while before I met him. So I'm not exactly sure. I could be 6. I don't know. I couldn't read when I started playing video games, and then I learned how to read. So that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I remember playing on our. I had like a nice upbringing with video games because my dad is really into it. My dad is a game collector as well. He owns way more games than I do. I have 300 games currently in my collection, like 305, and my dad has like 500 something. But so my dad's really into it too, and that's kind of how I got into it as a kid. Is my dad always had like the newest system and upgraded his TVs and stuff like that. And I mean, we weren't like rich, but my dad worked really hard to make sure that we could have those things because that's what his hobby was as well. And yeah, so that was cool. We had always had like a newish TV, not like the best state of the art $1,000 TV, but a new TV. When HD TVs came out, we got a flat screen TV. It wasn't like massive or anything. It was like 28 or 30 inches or something, but not like one of those 60 or 70 inch TVs. But we got one of those when those came out. But anyways, the point of what I'm trying to say is I had started playing. My dad had I want to say I grew up with the GameCube, and yeah, GameCube and PlayStation 2 is what I grew up with. I remember playing Crash Bandicoot was like my first game I played. I also remember playing Wind Waker, Melee. I remember playing all that when I was really young. I'm 23. I'll turn 24 this August. So, yeah, that was, I don't remember, 2004 or 5 when those games came out. But so I remember that. I remember there used to be this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up game that I used to play all the time. Even then, even when I played it back then, like I was obsessed with the turtles, but like the mechanics of the game, I don't know. I have a hard time with beat 'em ups, but I loved that game when I was a kid. I mean, you're a kid, you don't know no better, and you can't afford a million games to play whenever you want, so you kind of just play what you have, and that is cool. So you it's cool to like get super deep into a game and learn like everything about it. So I don't know, like 7 or 6 year old me could fly through that TMNT game, boy. I tell you what, I could go through that. But yeah, I remember playing Sly Cooper a lot. I played the first 2 or 3, or I can't remember the first. I know I played 2 of them on the PlayStation 2. and I played Crash 1 through 3, and because you could, the PS2 was backwards compatible, so I played those. I remember playing Wrath of Cortex, which is interesting. I loved that game growing up, but now that I'm older and I'm watching like video essays on YouTube about like the history of games and these different, because there's video essays on any game. You can type in literally any game. You could find a video essay on Kaboom for the Atari, like, and how good it was or how bad it was or how somebody feels about it. But so I'm watching these video essays and these let's plays of Wrath of Cortex as an adult, and I'm like, oh, like people really hate this game, but I loved it at the time. I mean, you're a kid, you don't really have, a sense of an opinion or really like a know what you're talking about when it comes to video game quality. So I loved that game. And then I know we traded in the PS2 because the thing is my dad liked Nintendo a lot. That's his primary thing. Like he even though he collects everything today, like, and now he's still a primary Nintendo collector. He buys a lot of Nintendo stuff. And so my dad wanted to play these new Nintendo games when I was a kid, and so we traded in the PS2, swapped it for a GameCube, and had like Melee and Wind Waker. And I remember Wind Waker was what started my love for Zelda. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but it's what started my love for Zelda, because I remember my dad, I was grounded at the time. I don't know what I did. I was a bad kid, but I got grounded at the time, and I was supposed to be outside doing yard work. I wasn't allowed to play any games. And I think I was 8 or 9 around this time. I don't really remember, but I went to break the leaves in the backyard, and I go back inside, and my dad's like hooking up the GameCube and stuff. I didn't know that he went to go get it, and I was like, oh man, like I really want to play. And my dad was like, you know what, like you can watch me play, because I wasn't supposed to watch it either. I was in like big trouble. And so I was watching him play, and then eventually my dad was like, you can just play. Just let me play, which is cool. I remember playing Wind Waker and just being super psyched because A, I was supposed to be grounded, but B, it was so good. And I mean, that's, a classic Nintendo game that, we got to play on like launch or whatever. So that was really cool. And then, time goes on, and I start, Twilight Princess comes out. And I love Twilight Princess. That is my favorite Zelda game right there. And it's my favorite Zelda game purely from like nostalgia. Like I go back and I play it, and I'm still like the same level of excited about it as I was when I was a kid. But just the dark tone of the game, it's like what being edgy back then was, was Twilight Princess. But because to me, like video games were always like, colorful and fighting and jumping around and platforming and happy music and stuff. And this game was like dark and broody and depressing, and it showed that games could have depth. And I really liked it, like the fact that the games could have depth, and that really kicked off like my love of video games. And ever since, because I'd been playing video games, but that really started like the obsession, where I was like obsessed with beating games and playing different types of games and experiencing all these different like stories and stuff. But yeah, and that just kind of kicked it off from there. Ever since then, it was like a ball that kept rolling down a hill. I was obsessed with anything video game related. I liked collecting video game stuff. I remember I used to like collecting all kinds of dumb stuff, but I really like collecting that stuff and getting lost in these like fictional worlds and stuff. I'm also like a big anime guy, and I was back then too. I used to get Shonen Jump magazines, and just like, I don't know, escaping myself in all these different worlds was just so cool. And yeah, but that started my love for video games right there. And we can talk about some of my favorite games of all time. I'd say Twilight Princess is number one, which I just said. Zelda is my favorite franchise of all time, and I want to make maybe do a whole podcast episode, or maybe like a video essay on like my top 10 favorite games of all time, or maybe I'll do both where I can go like in depth and talk about it. I just don't have the right recording stuff to record console gameplay, like to be able to record like my Wii U and stuff, because I bought the Twilight Princess remake or remaster. I don't have the right tools to record console gameplay of that. But yeah, so Twilight Princess is number one for sure. Breath of the Wild is 2 for sure. And then I know I've committed a cardinal sin. I've never played Ocarina of Time. Maybe on this channel in the future I'll do like a video essay about my experience with it, because it's people are obsessed with Ocarina of Time. So it's like the best game ever made and stuff like that. But then you have people, internet personalities, that kind of say, well, I think that that's a little overdone, and I don't know. I've never played it, so maybe getting my own opinion on it and playing it, which is a sin. The fact that I'm like a Zelda super mega fan and I've never played Ocarina of Time, it's pretty bad. But anyways, yeah. So Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, Bethesda RPGs are up there. Those are highly influential. I started playing Skyrim in 2010 or 11. I don't remember exactly when it came out. I want to say it came out in 2010, but I played it a little afterwards because I was a kid back. I was a middle schooler, and I didn't pay attention. I didn't have these resources to pay attention to IGN and these, GameSpot, and pay attention to all these articles and release schedules. Now I do. Now I read articles about like release dates and stuff and keep an eye on the news. But back then, you didn't. And I was at my friend's house babysitting his dog, Zach, and his brother just said like, yeah, you know what, you can like play my PS3 while you're watching the dogs. Like, thanks for doing this or whatever. And left, and I watched the dogs. The dog just hung out with me in the room, and I played Skyrim for the first time. I just fell in love with that game, man. That game was just so good, and I played it for like 5 or 6 hours, and they came back, thanked me for watching the dog, and I left, and I managed to convince my parents to get me a used copy of Skyrim, and that kind of like kicked off my love for Skyrim. But because I was falling in love with Skyrim so much, I wanted to play other Bethesda games, and I turned to Fallout New Vegas and started playing that. I bought that on Steam at the time, and God, man, I don't know. Like, I love Skyrim, and it definitely revolutionized how I feel about video games and RPGs, but Fallout just, to me, is way my favorites. I love Fallout way more than I love Elder Scrolls, and I love Elder Scrolls a lot. I mean, Elder Scrolls is above a lot of other game IP for me, but Fallout is just top of the line for me. The atmosphere, listening to the old school music, just the gameplay loop is simple but fun, and you can build your character in a variety of ways. So, especially in New Vegas in 3, specifically New Vegas is better, I think, but playing New Vegas and having all these different options and being able to play and do whatever you want was really cool, and I enjoyed that a lot, and became highly influential. And I remember when Fallout 4 was coming out. Fallout 4 was coming out during my senior year of high school at the time, and God, man, 2016, I think. And I went and I skipped a day of school. I remember because I was in tech school. I did half a day at tech school, and then I only had 3 periods at my main school. It was just a vocational school, and I was taking computer IT classes, and I skipped, and I told the instructor, like, I'm gonna skip tomorrow. And the instructor looked up at me and he goes, "Oh, is it for Fallout 4?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Yeah, it's for Fallout 4." And he goes, "Okay, that's fine." And as I skipped for Fallout 4. I played Fallout 4 in launch. That was super huge. Obviously, Fallout 4, people have their gripes with it. I thought it was good. Obviously, not as good as New Vegas, but there's a lot of quality of life issues. Don't even get me started on Fallout 76, which came out in 2019. Don't even get me started on that game. But yeah, so Fallout, Bethesda RPGs are hugely influential. Crash Bandicoot, like I said, is huge. I think Crash Bandicoot 4, the recent one, is the best objective Crash Bandicoot game out of all of them. I think it's so good. It feels good. It looks good. I don't really care about graphics so much, but it looks good. And it just feels really good to play. Obviously, modern, technology's made game feel easier to achieve, but good game feel easier to achieve. But man, it's just good. But I love, like I said, Wrath of Cortex. I love Twin Sanity, but I never played it past the halfway point. But I liked the earlier levels of it. Crash 1 through 3, I bought the remaster, and I own them all on PS1 in the jewel case. Love those. I have like a Crash Bandicoot shrine with statues and stuff. I love Crash Bandicoot. I love him as a character. I love his character design. and he's like one of the first IPs I ever fall in love with besides Zelda. Yeah, because I fell in love with Crash even before I fell in love with Fallout, and I would rank Fallout above Crash. But this is more this and talk about these games that I like is more so to give you guys an idea of like where my opinions stand, and like because everybody has a different background, right? You know, so if you have a guy who plays RTSs and he's like, well, I don't like a Hat in Time or whatever, like a platforming game. It's like, well, you don't play those, so you know what I mean. But I kind of have a wide background. But yeah, so Crash Bandicoot, love Crash Bandicoot. Mario platformers, I love 2D and 3D Mario platformers. I don't have an issue with either. I'll play either. They're both good. My favorite from both, I would have to say Super Mario Brothers 3 for the 2D platformer, and I'd have to say for the 3D platformer, I love 64. I love 64 so much. I just beat Galaxy recently, and I absolutely adore and love Galaxy. But Mario 64 is just one of the most influential games of all time to me. I started playing it when I was really young, with my dad, and I just is super influential in my gaming career. I love Mario 64. I can go back and replay Mario 64 over and over and over again and not get sick of it because I just love Mario 64. But I do think Galaxy and Odyssey are masterpieces. But 64 is just the nostalgic pick for me there. I love 64. Next up, we'll go into Super Smash Brothers. All of them are influential to me. My favorite one is Ultimate for sure, but I started playing in Melee, and then I kind of kept playing through the years and buying them, just playing them casually. But I got hyper competitive during Smash 4 in 2015, I think, and I've been playing competitive since. I stopped playing in 2020. 2021 is when I quit. I just couldn't make time to go to tournaments anymore. It's hard being an adult with a full-time job and going to tournaments every Thursday or Wednesday, and you have to work the next day. It's like, well, cool. I'll get out of work, rush over to the tournament, play, compete. You know what I mean? It's stressful to compete. I mean, it's fun. I loved it. It was one of the longest running things I ever did, and like hobbies I ever had, and I competed every single week for 5 or 6 years, or almost every single week for 5 or 6 years, and I loved it. But it got tiring, you know. Once you get out at 6, you rush over to the tournament by 6:30, you play until 10, and then you leave and get home by 11. Sometimes it's rough, and you have to go right to bed. And if you have responsibilities like dogs to take care of, or you know, you have a significant other, I have a fiance, then it gets even harder. So, but yeah, so that but Super Smash Brothers super influential. It got me really into competitive gaming, and I had played League of Legends in late middle school, early high school, and I still play today. Every once in a while, not as obsessively as I used to. But League of Legends kind of started my love for esports, but Smash Bros like cemented it. I had favorite teams, I had favorite players, I followed the tournaments, I watched the super major tournaments, and I kept up with it, and um, that was huge. I still keep an eye on Smash Bros tournaments and watch them because I like to keep up with it. And Smash Brothers not only made my love for Smash Brothers huge, but the platform fighter genre huge. Like I love Rivals of Ether, that Nick All Stars Brawl game. I'm excited for. I alpha and beta tested Multiverses. It was amazing. So it just really cemented that I have that, and it taught me to the fighting game players mentality, because fighting game players just get their butts whipped over and over and over and over and over until they learn why they're losing, and then you slowly crawl like back and implement it into your gameplay. So, but anyways, yeah, the Smash Brothers platform fighting genre, super influential, super influential, and yeah, I love. I still play all those different Smash Brothers fighters. All right, next game I want to talk about is Minecraft. Minecraft, super highly uh, influential to me. Uh, Minecraft, just I play that game. I still play it every once in a while, but I was a part of the Minecraft craze when it first started. I mean, I remember playing it in late alpha, early beta. I bought my copy for like $5 from Notch, and then you just kind of played it. I mean, it played a huge part of my middle school career, high school career, because like I had depression. I had no friends because we'd moved, and so I spent all my time making friends and playing games on Minecraft and playing like survival games. And I met a bunch of friends there. And there's a Minecraft server I played on all the time that I loved. It was a towny server, and you could just create towns and have there was an economy and there was nations and a government system and how we interacted with each other and how we played. And yeah, it was really fun. I I miss that server sometimes because there's a lot of people that I talked to every day for 5 or 6 years don't that I don't even know how they're doing anymore. So yeah, it really sucks. But I that was hugely influential, and just I've had like probably a billion single player worlds in my time, and I just it never gets old. There are times where I take breaks and then I go back to it and I still play it some more. So yeah, love Minecraft. And then first person shooters, Call of Duty played a big role in my love for first person shooters when growing up, as it did I think for like everybody. But nowadays, uh, I play Apex Legends a lot, and I enjoy I just enjoy like I like first person shooters, but I don't have like a specific one. Like I'll get in the mood to play FPS with a good game feel and good shooting feel, and uh, a lot of it is either Destiny 2 or Apex Legends. Those are two really good ones. Um, Titanfall 2 was good. I never really played it too much though, and yeah, but just FPSs in general. I'd say my go-to is Apex Legends. But anyways, let's get into some video game news. This is a podcast. Now you guys kind of know my background with games. You'll know what my opinions are and like why I'm coming to these different opinions and how I feel and where they stem from. So it kind of sets up the basis as you guys are going to start to learn who I am as a game collector and game player. But let's get into the news. So first off, I saw multiple different sources on Twitter state that PlayStation is going to or might acquire Square Enix, and that's that's actually really interesting because Square Enix sold like half of their studios to Embracer Group earlier in May. Um, it was, I believe, like all the Western studios, believe. And if this is true, Sony would have like the whole Japanese, like half of Square Enix. So that would make like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest. Those would all be potential Sony exclusives, which would be huge and a major corner on the action Japanese RPG genre. Like that would be insanity. I know Final Fantasy 16 is going to be a console exclusive, just like Final Fantasy 7 Remake was for a couple years. But it'd be interesting because if they buy it, then that's a permanent exclusive, which would be crazy to see Square Enix games not coming to multiplat anymore. There's a few games I wanted to hit on from the Nintendo Indie Direct as well. Seemed very interesting. There wasn't too much in the Direct that I saw that I would liked, but I kind of wanted to go over it. There's a game called Ooblets, which is a creature collecting farming game where the battling system is like dance battles. It looks really interesting. It's coming this summer. I don't know if I'll get that because obviously these are all digital only right now. But if I saw a physical, I'd probably pick it up. But I don't know. It'd have to get really good reviews for me to jump and buy that digitally. Elechead, 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 is a puzzle platformer where you're a strange like battery looking guy and your electricity can turn platforms and other things on or off. Looks really good. I like the graphical style. It's like an old school graphical style. I like that a lot. I might just jump and get it digitally. I do really hope that Limited Run does a physical of this. And if they did, I would jump on it because it looks really, really good. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for reviews and gameplay footage of that game. Mini Motorways is a puzzle game where you try to fix traffic jams. It looks super fun. I don't know if I'll get this again. This is gonna be a wait and see impressions game. I'm not as sold on it as I am a Leckhead. Next game, Cult of the Lamb. Like I said, this is a family gaming podcast, but I'm going to talk about Cult of the Lamb. It's an indie game that was in the direct. It's like I think Cult of the Lamb is going to be my most anticipated indie game of the year. I'm super pumped for it. It's a roguelike dungeon crawling Animal Crossing simulator where you're like cultists and you like sacrifice animals, but you are animals. So you're like a lamb cult that like I don't know. You're like woodland animals sacrificing other woodland animals for this cult, but you like make like a town out of it, and you do like Binding of Isaac dungeons, and like roguelike gameplay. I'm really excited for that. That's my super pump. It looks really good. Obviously, the theme is not very family friendly, but I am really pumped for that game. It looks like it's gonna be really fun gameplay wise, and the graphics look really clean. Last one that looked good from that indie direct was Another Crab's Treasure. It's a Souls-like game where you're a hermit crab trying to get his shell back. I think this is a really fun idea. I think this is a really original idea, but I will not be playing it because I hate Souls games. We'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, it looks good. I can see if you're a Souls fan that you would love this. And I believe it's Switch exclusive, but I'm not sure. Let's get into some other upcoming video games releases. Other video game releases I'm excited for. These are more, I don't know if AAA is the term, but they're not indie, so it could be AA or AAA. I don't know. A Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope. I loved Mario Rabbids 1. I never finished the game because I don't know, like I didn't like how they did some of the health systems. Like I got to the final boss fight or the boss fight right before. The final boss fight is like a 3-fight gauntlet, but there's no healing items in between each fight. And to heal, you'd have to switch to like easy mode, and once you did, you can switch back. I didn't want to do that, so I quit before the final fight, like 2 fights before. But I thought it was really good. I loved it. I played the crap out of it. So I'm really excited for that. Multiverses, I believe the full game, or at least the full free beta, is gonna start this summer. Multiverses is a Warner Brothers based platform crossover fighter with characters like Batman, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, Arya Stark, Steven Universe, Finn the Human, Jake the Dog. It's a really cool way for Warner Brothers to kind of extract value out of these IP that they hold in a way that I think people are going to be supportive of. And the reception on Twitter looks highly supportive of this, which makes me very happy. And I've been beta testing it. I played in the alpha or whatever, the private alpha, and then I played in this semi-private beta. You can stream footage and talk about this beta, and they even give you extra codes to send to your friends. But the other one was like a private one we got emails about, and I couldn't state publicly talk about what we were playing. But I in the beta that is happening right now, I've been playing it a lot, and I really like it. I think it's very fun, and yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm getting other people excited for it, and I can't wait for it to come out. And that'll be a game where I actually grind and buy the battle pass and play the battle pass. I think that's going to be a fun experience. I'm excited for that. Next up, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I pre-ordered both these games already. Very, very, very excited for this. I 100%ed Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I love this new open world, free form Pokemon gameplay loop that they're doing to kind of reinvigorate interest in the IP. I think that's really good. As a longtime Pokemon fan, like I said, I've been playing Pokemon since I was 6 or 7. This is very, very good. I'm very happy with this. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to have new Pokemon in a new region. Rumor has it that it's based in Spain, so it's going to be really interesting. And I love that Pokemon is the stylistic choices. Some of the things you saw in the trailer looked really cool. I'm excited to see what regional variants there are. I'm excited to see what new Pokemon there are. The starters look good. I believe it's their names are Fuecoco, Quaxley, and Spriggan or something like that. The grass cat. I don't know. Fuecoco will be my starter, by the way. Fire dinosaur all the way, baby. But yeah, really excited for that. Next, we're gonna talk about Hogwarts Legacy. I pre-ordered the PS5 version already. We don't know exactly when it's gonna come out, but they released IGN talked about today, or not today, yesterday at the time of recording. I'm not sure that there's gonna be special PS5 DualSense features like haptic feedback on certain sequences in the game, as well as the tension triggers on certain spells that you cast. And your controller will also, which I don't think is exclusive to just the DualSense. I'm pretty sure the DualShock 4 will be able to do this as well. But whatever house that you get put in, so if you get put in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin, your light bar on your controller will glow that color. So if you get put in Gryffindor, it'll glow red, or Slytherin will glow green. Cool little features to have for the game to just increase your experience with it. Nothing like crazy though. I think Hogwarts Legacy has the potential to be the biggest, one of the biggest, or one of the biggest games of the year. I don't think it's going to be Elden Ring. Um, in terms of notoriety, that game got like a 98 out of 100 or something. But I do think it has potential to be one of the biggest action RPGs of the year, if not the biggest action RPG of the year. It's going to be open world, I think. Like, I think Hogwarts is like your hub, and Hogwarts is massive, by the way, from the looks of it. But Hogwarts is your hub, and then you can explore around Hogwarts in an open world setting. I believe is what is happening. I'm not exactly 100%. Don't roast me, guys. But I don't think that is 100% true. I don't know. Like I said, am I a developer? No, I'm making this, so I don't know. But it looks like that to me. So it is something I've ascertained on my own, which I believe is the correct pronunciation of that. Next up, we're going to talk about the Star Wars KOTOR remake. All the games I've been listing so far are games that are coming out this year. I believe KOTOR remake's coming out this year. I don't think they said that though, but I thought rumor had it that KOTOR remake was coming out this year. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. I don't know that for a fact. I have to look that up, but I'm not sure. We're gonna say maybe, but I'm super excited for the KOTOR remake because I'm wondering because as you guys know, Disney, or if you don't know, Disney purchased Star Wars, obviously, duh, and when they did that, they wiped out all of the extended universe and made it non-canon. So games like Star Wars Unleashed and Knights of the Old Republic um, were considered non-canon now. So the story of Knights of the Old Republic doesn't really matter to the overarching. I mean, it's a cool experience. Obviously, I'm gonna play. I haven't played KOTOR yet, the originals, but I will. But so the stories of those games don't matter in the grand overarching story of Star Wars, and they're not in the official timeline. But this remake, I'm curious if they're gonna make this canon or not. Because if they do, that changes everything. I know that in episode 9 they hinted or referenced Revan. I believe his name was one of the legions because he named every Palpatine in 9, spoiler, named every legion of his army after a Sith Lord. So there was like Bane and stuff, but one of them was named Revan. So I'm curious if KOTOR remake will make Revan canon, or if Star Wars Acolyte will end up doing that. I don't know. It would make sense to have a remake be canon, because at that point, wouldn't the main games just be canon? But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this game's canon or not. But I'm really excited for it. I love Star Wars. It's one of my favorite IPs of all time. I mean, my username on a lot of things has Sith in it, and I'm a Marvel fan, which is why my name's Knull. So I love Marvel and Star Wars. So I'm excited for KOTOR remake, and I'm also excited for Spider-Man 2, PlayStation exclusive. I think they said it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I think it's PS5 exclusive. So I'm really excited for that. Venom is my favorite comic book character of all time. I named myself Knull after one of the biggest Venom Marvel villains in general, but the biggest Venom villain, which is Knull, god of the symbiotes. I love Venom. Venom's awesome, and he's going to be, I think, the main antagonist of Spider-Man 2. I hope that they turn him into his own like anti-hero and make his own games. That would be crazy to see an Insomniac made Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, because they made that already. Venom game. That'll be really cool. I hope that they do that, but I don't think they. I don't know. That's hopeful thinking. But I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for the Insomniac Wolverine game. It's gonna be rated M. That's gonna be really interesting. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. There's that one random, I think it was Wolverine Origins, was just like a random movie tie-in game they did for Wolverine that ended up being like super good. But I think this game is going to be more in the vein of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. I'm hoping it's going to be open world. If it's linear, they're going to have to, I don't know, you know, because Insomniac lately has been doing open world stuff. I don't know if they're gonna. I think they've always done open world, or mainly done open world recently within the past 8 years, but 8 years or so. I don't know. I can't say 10 because I'm not sure, but uh, so I don't know if it's gonna be open world, or we don't know anything about it. But it'd be cool to see an open world Wolverine game where you can like scale buildings with your adamantium claws. That's gonna be cool. So we'll see. We'll see there. I'm not sure, but I'm excited for both of those. More so Spider-Man 2. Next game, PS5 update for Witcher 3. I played and beat The Witcher 3 on my PC, but I never played the DLCs. And I'm gonna talk about my new pickups later on in the podcast. But I had recently picked up Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the PS4 with all the DLCs. And this is cool because I'm hoping I'll get the free PS5 update because I own the PS4 copy. But if not, I might just jump and buy a physical version of the PS5 Witcher 3. But it's going to be cool to experience the game again. I've been kind of itching to play it again, but I'm itching my Witcher 3 disc. No, but I'm itching to play it in 4K 60 frame if the PS5 update's good and they don't cyberpunk it. But I don't. But it sucks that we have to say that about CD Projekt Red, who developed Cyberpunk 2077 as well as The Witcher 3. Cyberpunk ruined their reputation after it came out, which is sad because they were so highly regarded with The Witcher 3. But anyways, hopefully the PS5 update's good for it. I'm gonna wait to replay The Witcher 3 until that comes out. So, but I am excited for that. Next is Breath of the Wild sequel. We're gonna be talking about that for a second. That's my most anticipated game of the year. So far, Nintendo hasn't gone really into any more detail about it. And Nintendo hasn't really gone into more detail about first-party stuff anyways. I know Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is coming out, but that doesn't look interesting. And I'm hoping for a 3D Mario, like a Mario Odyssey 2 soon, because that game was a banger, but, you know, we don't know. And, sorry if you can hear me dinking around. My pop filter's acting weird. Anyways, we don't know anything about Odyssey 2. If there's going to be a 3D Mario, that would be on this list if that was there, but it's not. So all we have is Breath of the Wild sequel, which is my most anticipated game of the year. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be good. I just hope that they don't mess it up, because if they mess it up, then they ruin the reputation of this IP. Not the Zelda IP, but the Breath of the Wild like series. I really hope they don't mess it up. I hope it's really good. But we will see. We will see. That is my most anticipated game of the year. I think it's going to be a masterpiece, like I just said. And I think I just don't know. The thing I'm iffy on is that we know Link is all messed up. He looks all hit and destroyed. His arm's all messed up. We know the Master Sword's destroyed. And he's in the sky doing dungeons in the sky. And I'm curious as to how that'll work. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, that's all the news stuff and upcoming games that I'm excited for. Oh yeah, really quick, I just saw this. PlayStation Studios is going to invest in a big new IP, IGN reports. I don't know. We obviously don't know anything about it, but yeah. Alright, let's go into some retro game stuff. I don't really have much to say in this segment today, but I do want to say that I have been playing Mario Galaxy, which is on the Wii, which is considered retro now. Crazy, I know. But I beat Mario Galaxy, and it's super fun. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's definitely up there. I absolutely adore that game. And yeah, but that's it for the retro news. What I've been playing lately, we're going to go into now. I have lately been playing the Multiverses beta test. I've been playing that a lot. Really fun, really good. I invited my uh, one of my buddies to play with me, so that's gonna be cool because I got an email for a bunch of codes. Mario Galaxy, obviously, I just beat it. I rage quit Elden Ring. So earlier when I said I hate Souls games, I have no experience with Souls games, but I played Elden Ring which is my first ever Souls experience, and it got such good reviews. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play this game. This looks sick. And I ended up hating it. It was absolutely awful, and I rage quit. I was pissed that I spent money on it, and I raged in front of my fiance. I stood up. I quit the game. I took it out of my PS5, closed the thing, closed the case, brought it to GameStop, traded it in, and got Ghostwater Tokyo and Horizon Forbidden West out of it. So, not Horizon Forbidden West, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, sorry. But yeah, so screw Elden Ring. Anyways, also I've been playing Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Nice quick little game. I'm like 3 hours in, so I'm like 3/10 of the way through it. It's like a 10-hour experience, I guess. I'm having a lot of fun, and the game is just beautiful. I mean, it looks like you're playing through a Pixar animated film. It's really good, design wise, visually, very good. Gameplay wise, it's nice. It's fun. It's quick. It's snappy. The hits are really snappy. It's got it's like Breath of the Wild and Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. It's really good. I like it. And let's get into some new pickups really quick. This will be the last segment, pre-planned segment. So I picked up J Stars Victory Versus Plus. It's like anime fighting game, but instead of it just being like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece, it's like all kinds of different characters. So it's got Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, Assassin's Classroom or whatever. Um, a lot of shonen. It's basically just a massive shonen fighter. There's like 40 or 50 playable fighters and then like 60 assist characters or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy. I think Bobo is in it, and a bunch of other these crazy anime characters. I know that Ariel, one of the Akira Toriyama characters, is in it. So really cool. I'm excited to play that. It's a rare game. It goes for like 20-25 bucks when I looked last, and I picked it up for like 10. So good pickup. It's not like highly rated, but I like anime fighters, so I'll put it in, play it for a couple hours every once in a while to get my value out of it that way. So excited to play that. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the PS4. I mentioned this earlier, but gonna kind of wait to play that now until the PS5 update. I got Deus Ex Mankind Divided on PS4 as well. Excited to play this. I just beat Bioshock. I'm working on a review on it right now, actually, factually, and I'm excited to finish that review. It's taking forever to make because it's going to be like the highest quality video I've ever made in my career on YouTube, because I've had billions of other channels I've been working on since I was a kid, but this review is like the hardest thing I've ever edited, and I want it to be like perfect. And since it's going to be like my breakout review, I'm taking my time on it. Next is also, I don't want to overhype it. Let me wait, pause. I don't want to overhype the review. I hope it's good. I hope you guys like it, but it's not. I'm already finding issues with it, but some of them are unavoidable with the resources I have. So, and my inexperience, but I'm working on it. We're gonna work on it. Inexperience is not an excuse. But I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, I could have done that so much better. Anyways, next game. Oh no, wait, Deus Ex, Bioshock. Play Bioshock. Bioshock is an immersive sim game. So I started doing research into the immersive sim genre, and Deus Ex Mankind Divided is like one of the highest rated ones. There's a couple other games I want to get because of the immersive sim like gameplay style, like Prey and stuff. But Deus Ex was like highly regarded, so I picked up Deus Ex Mankind Divided to play and test it out and see if I like it. It's kind of like a cyber futuristic theme. Pretty excited to try it out. I'm currently playing, but I also recently got Kenna Bridge of Spirits for the PlayStation 5. I like it a lot. It looks good so far. Yeah, I talked about it earlier. Next is Ghostwire Tokyo. I originally was not going to get this game for that purchase for that month or whatever. Um, I was not going to get the game. I skipped on it, but I hated Elden Ring so much that is primarily what the money went from that to get is Ghostwire Tokyo, um, because I was gonna just trade it in and save the money for like another game. But I've been recently listening to a lot of podcasts and like Sacred Symbols and listening to a lot of YouTubers talk about how much they like Ghostwire Tokyo and how underrated it is. So I was like, you know what? I think Elden Ring's overrated. I'm gonna trade in, get Ghostwire Tokyo, which is gonna be the last like Bethesda game on PlayStation, and I'm gonna play it and see if it's good or not. It's like a single player open world romp in an abandoned Tokyo or like a haunted Tokyo. It looks really cool. I like the style. I like the setting. I like the music. I like the theming. Um, the story is kind of whatever to me. I don't really care too much, but overall it looks interesting. I'm excited to play that. It's gonna be a quick game too, like 10 or 13 hours from what I read. And then last but not least, Horizon Forbidden West. I have been waiting to play this game. My fiance likes Horizon a lot. She watched me play Horizon for Zero Dawn when that came out, and that was like right in our relationship. We started dating in 2016. Late 2016. No, early 2016. No, early 17. We started dating early 17. Horizon came out midway through. I don't know why I thought we dated in 16. I wasn't even out of high school. That would have been illegal. But no, so it was mid. Horizon came out the same month as. Oh no, okay. We started dating in March. Horizon came out in April, I believe. Horizon Zero Dawn. And she watched me play that, and liked the story a lot, and got mad at me if I didn't play it without her around. So we're gonna be playing Horizon Forbidden West together. She's gonna be watching as I play and stuff, and for the story. And the only reason I haven't started it yet is because it's like 30 or 40 hours, and I just don't have the time right now. So I'm waiting to like a less busy time, and I'm gonna play it then. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's gonna be fun though. I'm excited for it. But yeah, so that's about everything. I talked about some of my favorite games of all time, my gaming history. I talked about the news for a little while, and some of the games that are coming out that I'm excited for. I talked about what I'm playing, pickups. I think we did a good job. I think we did a good job for my first solo podcast. Not gonna lie, my throat hurts after talking for 47 minutes nonstop. I'm gonna need to get some Wawa after this, some water, and I will make sure I have it with me the next episode we record next week. I'm gonna keep a compiled list of anything that happens throughout the next week and keep it written down. And yeah, you know what? Let's check Twitter live really quick and see if anything's happening on the timeline. Any gaming news I can report on right now. IGN reports that The Witcher 4 has entered pre-production. That is what I am saying. The Witcher 4 has been entered into pre-production, and according to at Next Gen Player on Twitter, who talks about video game stuff, he linked a Game Radar article saying God of War Ragnarok has been rated in Korea. So it seems like God of War Ragnarok is coming out this year. I'm not too excited about that game, but it is a highly anticipated title. So, but yeah, thank you guys for listening and watching. I'm excited to do this solo podcast. Originally, Pixel Patrol is going to be, like I said, with me and my friend Matt, but we have like a comedy style when we're together that is not family friendly, and I wanted to do a family friendly cast. So we're going to have Thumb and Knull, or Knull and Thumb, one or the other, podcast where him and I just, talk crap and, make jokes and say whatever we want and stuff like that. And then this will be like a good family friendly podcast where we just talk about video game collecting and news. So if you're interested in seeing me have a little bit more of a potty mouth and you want to watch me and my buddy Matt, he's really funny, go go check that episode out. I don't know if that'll be out before or after this. I think I kind of want this to be my debut, and then then keep an eye out for reviews and other content that we're doing. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Or I will see you guys next time. See you guys. Thank you.